The Warhammer series is currently very popular in the Total War franchise right now. Do not get me wrong, I love Warhammer. I think it has brought a lot of great elements, a lot of not so good elements to the historical titles that have released alongside with it. But right now, historical Total War needs to make a return after its long exodus from the Total War series. We need a historical Total War title, and that title needs to be announced here, now. Troy was historical fantasy, and Rome Remastered was nostalgia. They were great. We need a major historical title, big and epic. And why am I saying this? I'm a fan that likes both fantasy and historical. I can understand the splits, but we need an historical title that will be epic. And by that, what do I mean? First, you need a new historical engine, a new battle engine, new campaign mechanics that are perhaps inspired from Paradox games, and to ditch away some of the leftover features that have been borrowed from Warhammer and the historical fantasy titles. To do something new. Bring out the best elements of Warhammer fantasy that fit in a historical context. And I think you would really have something good over here. But let's see what will happen in the future, because I am right now unsure. But I say this. Where is historical Total Wars? Where are they? When are they coming? I have no clue. Now, of course, you can watch Melkor's latest video, which you can see here, and I'll also put a link to the description down below on Total War Leaks that says what CA is planning, and Melkor does a great job of really listing out where historical Total War may come. Now, do I acknowledge that historical Total Wars have taken a hit due to Warhammer? Yes, I do. But that isn't necessarily Creative Assembly's fault, it's more or less the appeal of what Total War... Attila was the last big major historical title that featured a grand sweeping map with tons of factions to play with. But why didn't Attila do well? Attila didn't do well because it was a title that was decided to be made after the ramshackled Rome 2 release, to say the least. And that is why Attila didn't do that well. Plus, Attila had a lot of superior features over Rome 2 in a way. More cinematics, more cutscenes, more story immersive narrative events, better sieges in a way, and siege escalation as well. And Rome 2 didn't have that. Because in Rome 2, you didn't even have civilians within the cities, which Attila had. But even despite all that, Attila didn't do that well. Warhammer. And when Warhammer came, it introduced new ideas, new concepts. And now with Warhammer 3, they are remaking the sieges in such a terrific way that I do want elements of those sieges in the new historical titles. Not the supplies, but the way you can navigate around the cities, the way cities are accessible, and I do think this is a good approach. What I don't like is keeping some of the sieges to be tightly contained in one corner of the map. That I don't like. I do want historicals to have a big style siege. But where can Total War come next? Where do we go from here? Is it just because we've had Thrones of Britannia, we've had Troy, we've had 3K, and 3K was a good title. 3K had a lot of good things in it. I think Creative Assembly not giving any more support is a bit of a disappointment, and I do not see what they will achieve differently with Total War 3K2, because you really will have to make it more unique than what 3K was. In my opinion, what you could have done is you could have at least given a final patch of 3K, at least fix the bugs. That could have been more acceptable. You know, a series of patches rather than one big patch. You could have split it through cycles. That would have been more cheaper to do and really wouldn't have cost that much. But where do we go from here? Do we have an Empire 2? Do we have a 3K? Do we have a Medieval 3? And right now, I think Medieval 3 is the most likeliest because of all the medieval games that are currently coming right now on Steam. You know, there's Medieval Dynasty, there's Elden Ring, there is There are many historical titles that are coming. Knights of Honor 2. There are such. And the medieval era is still the most popular. You can just look at Kingdoms Come Deliverance. Creative Assembly always goes for a period, I think, where they have the most appeal. And I can't fault them on that. They will choose what they want. But I think what went wrong with Troy and 3K is that they are limited settings. They don't feature a big variety of factions. Now, you might say, well, they don't feature a big variety of factions. Now, you might say, well, they do actually feature a lot of factions. But yes, but that's local. Imagine Troy with the entire Bronze Age map. And let's observe Warhammer for a second. Warhammer 1 worked because it succeeded in delivering the objective it went for. It showed Creative Assembly could go and make a fantasy title. Then they made Warhammer 2, then they made Warhammer 3, but they planned it, they planned the entire project. Now if Warhammer had been put into one game, would it have been as successful? Because when Creative Assembly goes for big titles, they always come out glitchy, unbugged, well, bugged in a way, but they don't come out as successful, and then they require DLC and patches to fix. So I wonder, will a new historical Total War go on the path of what Warhammer has achieved in terms of splitting Total War games? Will it be the case that we may no longer get full historical Total Wars unless it is A small expansion, and then B, it basically encourages a DLC model? I don't mind it, but it will become expensive. Total War games are going to become even more expensive in the future, and Total War has to become mainstream in a way that it has to be paradox to some degree. Historical Total War can go to many periods. Perhaps it could go to the Dutch Golden Age, where the Dutch Empire was expanding. Perhaps it could expand to the Portuguese and Ottoman wars that fought for the Indian Ocean, for the control of trade and spices. Or it could go to the very wars of Africa, and there were many numerous wars between many different kingdoms. There is, of course, remaking Medieval 2 the Americas campaign, or even remaking the Medieval 2 Crusades campaign. I definitely think there is some scope and potential here. Now those titles could either be sagas, or those titles could either be different areas of Total War DLCs. How everything is going to shape out is going to be tricky. Because right now what we need is a clear roadmap from Creative Assembly. A clear roadmap just as they do with Warhammer. But this clear roadmap should be with historical Total Wars. Instead of giving us blog updates and such, rather set out a video with a good blog update. Blog update that gives an extensive and big list of what's happening with historicals, where we're going, what we're doing, because that's what I want. And I've enjoyed reading most of the blog posts from CA. I think they need to do more of it, in my opinion. They need to update, because I will say this, I know more about Victoria 3 than I do right now of a Total War game that is historical. And that needs to change. I need to now know more about the historical Total War game than I do about Victoria 3. And Victoria 3 doesn't even have the same battle engine. It doesn't even have a battle engine. So that's what I want from Creative Assembly. This is my way of giving my feedback to Creative Assembly. I think there is a bright future ahead. I have to be cautiously optimistic. There will be duds, there will be successes, there will be flops, there will be successes and flops all the way. There will be up and downs, there will be the whole package. We can't predict what's going to happen. If let's say the last 4 titles haven't been great in terms of historical content, perhaps the next 4 titles could be. Perhaps there could be something here. But look, I'm gonna finish off this video by saying what Creative Assembly needs to do right now is to get a clear roadmap and announce a major historical title. Because while I enjoy playing with Total War mods, and I always will, we need something new. We need something after a long exodus. While Warhammer is greatly enhanced in CA mustn't forget that historical Total Wars is what made them in the first place. You know, if Rome Total War hadn't been successful, in fact, if Shogun Total War hadn't been successful, we wouldn't be here. And I just want Total War historicals to return, and I want it with a new engine, new battle engine, and all that. So I'm going to end off this video by saying I hope that we get a historical Total War either this year or next year maybe, but just an announcement, clear roadmap, lots of dev diaries, etc. And that's what I want. I want to know in the comment section down below. I want to have a conversation with you, the viewer. What do you think? Do you think there'll be new historical Total War games? Could there be any? Will it be just Warhammer? What is going to be the future of historical Total War games? That's what I want to know. And are you confident? Will a historical Total War game come? That's what I want to know as well. So please don't forget to leave a like, share, comment and subscribe, and let's start a discussion, you know. Let's have a discussion. I'll personally come and talk to you and comment on your comments, or comments for the comment god, etc. But please do, and I'd be interested to see what your opinion is. Thank you. As an extra bonus, if you want to find out what my other Total War friends are doing in this sphere, you might want to check out the Wolf of Iberia's The State of Historical Total War video. You might want to check out the Terminator's Historical Total War video. And Andy's Take, who also does such videos as well. Each of these YouTubers have gone into effect of how they have described what they think where the next historical Total War might be. I recommend that you get to their channels, you subscribe, you watch, and you contribute to the discussion over there as well. I sincerely hope that you have enjoyed this video. I will try and make better videos from my end, but we need a new historical Total War game, and we need it right now.